Another principle that I'd like to share with you. I've got it written on the whiteboard here. The lower back does not twist. Children never twist their lower back. They're always moving their feet, moving their body. Everything else twists, but never the lower back. And because they're moving their feet and doing everything, the lower back never gets twisted. But we're doing a lot of exercises that twist the lower back. We're doing a lot of actions and tasks during the course of our day that twists our low back. And I want to show you some detail on the spine here. I've got a plastic model of the spine. I want to just give you a real honest explanation and understanding of what's happening in your low back. I'm going to show you around the spine a little bit here. Now the spine is a flexible structure. It is not designed to be kept straight. It's designed to move in lots of different directions. We've got stack this side here facing this way. That is your belly and organs in there. So these knobs up this side of the spine here, all the way through there, are on this side. So this is your back of your back over here. Now you can see there's a metal rod running through there. That metal rod is where the spinal cord goes through. Up here, the skull sits up on the top here. Passes all the way down through the spinal column, and we'll pick it up at the bottom here, and you can see the metal rod passing through that hole all the way through there. And the spinal cord's about as thick as that metal rod down at that point there. The grey foam here is the disc between each of the blocks that runs all the way through. And the nerves pass out from the spinal cord via all these little holes. You can see these little holes down through here, and they run all the way up through the entire column, all the way up into the neck. Now, the ones down the bottom here, these ones all pass down through towards your leg. But a lot of people, the nerve, when it comes out of this hole here, a lot of people have this idea that nerves are cotton thread sized things. The nerve, when it passes out of this hole here, is about 1/4 inch in diameter. It's no different than the wiring loom on your car. You have a single wire to the blinker, single wire to the horn. Every one of those wires comes back into the loom, back at the power source. It's a big bundle. So the cotton thread of the nerve is out in the muscle and the skin and the blood vessel, but back up at this level here, all those little threads come back. It turns to string and cord, and it's 1/4 inch thick piece of rope coming out of these holes here. Now a good healthy disc here should be about 8 to 10 mil thick. Can you see as I pull that one there apart? It's about 8 to 10 mil thick. And you can see there's a nice gap there for the nerve to come out. The disc here is a big, thick, resilient, gristly mass of ligament, really strong. It's a shock absorber, all right, and it takes, it's designed to last a lifetime, but for many people it doesn't. Now if we watch here also, I want you to see these interlacing joints. You can see these interlacing joints down through here. Now I'm going to pull this one apart so you can see the shape of it. Can you see how this bottom part is cupped around there like that? I'll try and turn it so you can see. You can see that this part here is cupped around there. And these parts up here, like a couple of rabbit's teeth, they just slot down in there. All right, so there it is. Those joints are there, and because of the shape of this, you can see that that's not designed to twist. Can you see, if I put it sideways, can you see how that is locked in there? All right, now it looks as though there's, I can make it twist at the moment with a bit of slop, but there's no actual slop on a real vertebra, because this surface and this surface under here has a white glossy lining on it, the same as when you break open a chicken drummy. It's got a white glossy on the ball and there's a white glossy on the socket. So when you put that white glossy back onto both those surfaces, there's no actual slop or play in that joint, in these joints. Now I want you to think engineering and design. Can that twist? And no, it cannot. It cannot twist. These bottom vertebrae here, all these ones through here, cannot twist. All right? Now I want you to look at the upper back. All right? We'll go into this higher part of the back. I'm going to pull this apart so you can see. Now, You can see that little joint there. If we just come in close, you can see that's the joint there. It's like a couple of little mouse ears. Can you see how there's no edges on it? It's on that plane there. Now that's the bottom part of the joint. The other part of the joint is just up in here where I'm pointing with my finger. Now that just covers over the top of it. Because there's no edges on this joint part here, the upper back, can you see from a wide shot here, can you see how the upper back here can twist? The upper back can twist, but the lower back cannot twist. When you do twist it, if we look at the other side, because it's locked back on this side, when we twist it over this side, it creates shear. Can you see one vertebra shears across the other? Now, that disc should be 8 to 10 mil thick, resilient, gristly, massive ligament. When you shear it like that, it stretches the ligaments. It overstretches the ligaments. Do enough twisting on there and the ligaments get soft and eventually they tear. And there's some gel stuff in the middle of the disc, about the consistency of toothpaste. Helps the disc act as a shock absorber. When you keep twisting that disc, literally, though that disc, thick, resilient, massive ligaments, can turn to mush. And instead of it being 8 to 10 mil thick like this, it can collapse down to be 2 mils thick. Now you imagine, if you get you've got the nerve coming out of this gap here, and you imagine getting a 8 mil collapse onto that nerve. What effect is that going to have on the nerve? It's going to pinch and crush the nerve. And when the nerve comes out of here, it gets pinched and crushed and goes down the leg. That's what they call sciatica, but it's caused by the pinching of the nerve. But why did the nerve get pinched? Because the disc collapsed. Sometimes that disc bulges. You can see this disc just here. See how it's bulging out there? That's what happens when it turns to mush. It bulges in all sorts of places. And when it's bulging this side, there's just organs on this side, so that's not going to cause any harm. But sometimes, look at this next one down. Can you see how it's bulging back into that space? That's the one they call the prolapse disc. And it puts pressure on the nerve as well. And virtually they have to do surgery for that. They have to cut that bit of bulged disc off there to take the pressure off the nerve. If this gets very bad, they actually have to pull it apart and fuse it through surgery. But I want you to show you something else just here. We'll look at this level just here. You can see when the disc is 8 to 10 mil thick here, you can see the top part of the joint lining up there. Now this part of the spine is designed to move a little bit that way and a little bit that way, just a little bit in both in that direction. Now when that disc collapses, watch those rabbit's teeth. You'll have to get in close to have a look here. Can you see those rabbit's teeth chisel down into the bone below? So that's actually chiseling bone on bone. Now that's going to be pretty painful. When that disc collapses, those joints don't line up, bone's chiseling, it grinds away. You're getting lots of pain with this, and you take lots of drugs and things, and the doctor takes the x-ray and he says, oh, look at that, you've got arthritis. Well, osteoarthritis, wear and tear arthritis, as those bones chisel away down there. The arthritis is only the end result of the disc having collapsed. Now if the disc had never collapsed, and that disc was still nice and open, those joints wouldn't be chiseling away. So it all comes back to this twisting. This is not designed to twist. Can you see how much shear is occurring on there as I twist it? The low back is not designed to twist. The upper back is designed to twist and turn, right up through to your neck. So this upper back can twist, lower back does not twist. So I want you to believe what you see here, because there's a lot of people do exercises that twist the low back. We twist our low back when we're doing tasks during the day, and that's contributing to the shear on all those joints down there in your low back, on those discs. And it's the worst thing that you can ever do to your disc is to twist it. So I'm going to show you, I'll give you some examples. So to help you understand where you might be twisting your low back and not following this principle that the low back does not twist, with things that you do just during the course of your normal day, you might be inadvertently and unwittingly twisting your back. You could be standing at the kitchen bench, reach over there for the salt, over there for the pepper, 2 twists, small ones, but twists. Grab something off the shelf here, transfer it over there, or put it on a bench, or bring it back. It's twisting the low back. We could be using the spade, the shovel, the rake in the garden. And as we do this, we put it in the wheelbarrow, Our feet are stuck on the ground, we're twisting our low back. Loading the trailer with firewood, we're twisting the back all this time. And if you've ever done the firewood, you'll recognize your back is screaming at you after a few trailer loads. And that's the klaxon going off saying, warning, warning, harm, damage is occurring. But most people just suck it in and say, oh, I've only got one more trailer load to go. So how do we do all these things still without twisting our low back? And like the children, they never move, they never keep their feet still. Their feet are always moving, and we can do the same. The feet have to move. Grab the salt over there, roll to a toe. We have to lighten up. We have to let the feet do the work. And as soon as your feet are moving, this stops the low back from twisting. As soon as you've got something heavy on board when you're carrying and transferring, you never ever start by moving the load. Once you've got a load on board, you always step with your feet in this manner to transfer. In the garden, in using the rake or the spade or whatever it is, the feet always move. The feet, the heel, just rolling to one toe as you transfer and do what you do. Once the feet are moving, it stops this from twisting. Loading the trailer with firewood, no different than passing a rugby ball. The heel comes off the floor, and that stops the twist right there. Now watch what happens to my back as soon as I put my heel back on the floor from there. Now my back, I'm going to stop there because I can feel it starting to strain my low back, twist my discs, and I'm not going to do that to my back anymore. So step with your feet to avoid the twist. If you just stand up, I just want you to feel what it feels like. Now, if you've had a ruptured disc, please do not do this, because who knows, the next disc might rupture or whatever it is. But we have to not twist this low back. So if you're standing there, make two strong fists, and I want you just to imagine you've got something heavy in your hand and just transfer it around to the side there, and you'll feel that stiffness in your back. Now, that's not stiffness, that's strain. That's the shear on the disc that you're feeling there. So come back here, two strong fists. It might be half a step backwards with one foot might be the first thing to move, and you transfer. So just move your feet and transfer this object. How does your back feel? Now, do the same thing again, but keep your feet glued to the floor and put it around there, and you go, ooh, I can feel that. That's not stiff, that's strain, that's the shear on the disc. Here's something really dangerous. There are so many exercises twisting the low back. This is one of the worst exercises that you can do. They do it in sport training and gym, they do it at schools. You started doing it at a young age and they're still doing it in so many different sporting activities. This exercise twists the low back, and whenever you do it, you always feel stiff. The stiffness never goes away, it never gets any better. That's because it's not stiff, it's strain. So if you haven't had a ruptured disc, you can try this. Just swing your shoulders around from side to side and feel what happens down in your low back. It feels tight, stiff. No, that's the shear. That's the strain. So how do we twist the upper back? Now remember, the upper back can twist. How do we twist that without shearing our disc? The heel rolls off the floor like a golfer's follow through. And so you can actually twist your upper back now without straining your lower back. So just try that. Just let your heel roll off the floor. Exercises lying on your back, rolling both knees over to the side. One of the worst exercises you can do because it shears your back. When you do it, you feel the stiffness, you feel the strain. It's not good for you. It's pulverizing your disc. And for many of you, you've been doing these exercises, even health professionals have given you these exercises, and you still have your problem even though you've done the exercise. Your back's probably getting worse. Why is it getting worse? Lying on your back, rolling, throwing one leg over there, throwing the other leg over there, lying on your back on the ground. Terrible exercises. Sitting down with one leg pulled up here and pulling and twisting your back around. You do them and you will feel the shear, you will feel the strain. You have to stop doing these things to your back, because if you continue to rotate and twist your low back, you're going to rupture your disc. Anatomically, engineering-wise, this is not designed to twist. Step with your feet to avoid the twist so you don't rupture your disc, and stop doing all those twisting exercises and your back will start to settle down. Trust me on this one.